First of all, I have to say I don't have anything against Estonia, but I have to speak in English. Miguel is the only words I can say today in Estonian language. I'm living here 5 years, and I am managing a company called Archivas Center Hosting Services. Archivas, very briefly, because this is not the intention of this presentation, but just to introduce you who is in front of you now speaking. Archivas is a software for properties, infrastructure, and facility management. And my company is in charge of Archivas SaaS, or cloud delivery. And we are serving 64 countries. In Estonia, since 2 years ago, I was promoting and pushing one cluster of construction companies. The cluster is Digitaalehituse Platform. And the trend there, it was to, let's say, put together all the stakeholders of the sector working with the technologies. But based on our experience around the world, and also in, let's say, this project that I am facing right now in Estonia, I have prepared this presentation that is quite the same. I didn't know what my colleague in the previous presentation had been doing, but it's quite similar. But this approach is much more practical. And this approach is really from the point of view of the user, that sometimes we forget. As IT people, we are concentrated and focused on the technology, but we forget that someone is behind or between the screen and the chair. And that is really very important. Then I am going to explain, sorry, because this presentation is not only for IT audiences, but for other kind of people, then it's going to show here a very naive approach for you, perhaps. But first I am going to explain about the options of technology. Then what we have been realized are the real needs of the business. And when I say business, it's because the difference between the common user, let's say the alone user that is with his telephone, and the corporation is that the corporation is a team. And then we have to think that we have to provide solutions for teams, not for persons. And then I'm going to explain what has been, after all those years regarding the Digitaalehituse Platform project, what is our, let's say, solution and what we are doing right now, okay? Then, as I mentioned, first the options. What the options, the evolution of options has been since the 80s. The people just wanted the computer to make the invoices and have the accounting, nothing else. But then has been evolving. I'm not going to waste your time explaining that because it's very common for you. And then now, here we are after all those, let's say, letters, ERP, VPN, CRM, and finally, we are in a trend that is the cloud. Fantastic word, and amazing. But that means also collaboration. And what is happening today is that we have too many options. There are too many solutions. Many of them are really doing the same. And this is, at the end, is creating this, let's say, this multiplicity of options is creating a mess. In the previous presentation, it was presented like the mess. This is what Gartner defines the mess. But from where it comes, the mess, what is the problem? The problem is that I, as a user, I have a computer. And finally, the computer is a big problem for me because I have to be the computer of my computer. I have to remember if my friend Tarmo had sent to me an email with one document, but afterwards I have to remember if the document was an email or was an Skype, or really he put the document in Dropbox. Finally, it's really a problem because we are handling information. But we have, with the existing systems, we have to know how this information is managed in the computer. With which application I did, where I saved, did I share that information? Then, what are the real needs? What's the business are looking for? They are looking for align, more, let's say, more functional approach, and not so technical, not so much technology. They don't want to see if that is Office 365 or is Google Drive. That doesn't matter. They want just to make a document to request a permission to build. That's all. They don't want to know anything else. But I insist in the first point, have to be aligned with the business processes, because the business, and as I mentioned before, as teams, they have to work based on processes, and everybody have to do the same regarding one workflow. The information, they want to be, let's say, it's needed to be universal and shareable, of course, with the security regarding that. And this security, until now, the approach has been to have this security at the corporate level. We have our LDAPs, and we have all the things. But what about the security in a wider range, in this collaboration, in this cloud? How is that handled right now? Then, yes, that is the phrase I have put here, that the needs, I simplify with this. Yes, we are talking about digitalization. It's a very nice word. But they say, the business, when I talk with colleagues, when I talk with customers, they say, yes, I want to digitalize my corporation, but please make it simpler. The digitalization right now, as many of us are affording or are looking to implement in the companies, sometimes it's really just corporate, but we are not looking in this other issue of the cloud or the collaboration. Then, are really we digitalizing our company? Are we thinking in our stakeholders? Are we thinking in our colleagues? Are we thinking how we have to integrate that information with the other ones? Most of the projects I have seen until now of digitalization of companies are just corporate. They don't look outside. Is that a good idea? This question should be made. Do we want to build proprietary systems or really collaborative systems? And this is the trend. This is the need. Now, I'm going to try to go for what we have seen could be a solution, and is in what we are really working in this cluster deployment. But why we consider is needed a new operating system paradigm? Let's see what we have right now. Regarding, it doesn't matter, regarding iOS, Windows, Linux, wherever, right now is the user interface is application focused. Everybody works with applications. And what that means? That means that each application has its own way to handle the information, and its own system of filing, and its own system of, let's say, structuring the data. Can be external databases, can be proprietary databases, doesn't matter, but they are different. What it means is that in the real life, during the day when I am a user, I use my computer. Now for a presentation, I have to click on PowerPoint. And to handle the emails, I have to remember that I have one thing called Outlook, or sometimes I have to go to Google Gmail. It's crazy. Then when you have multiple applications, you must have multiple systems that they are not really integrated, they are not connected. And I have to know by myself as a user the path to go to that information. Then now it comes the cloud. Fantastic, oh, it's amazing. We can share, we can know where we are right now, where my wife has been buying yesterday, or it's amazing, no? But what that means? That means that now we have even more complex, because we have applications also in the cloud. We have applications in our desktop. We have applications in the cloud. And sometimes they are fitting together, sometimes they are not. And then what that means? Redundancy. Redundancy, repetition of data, sometimes, and more complexity for the user. If you use, and this is the real life, I have my professional experience is mostly in project management. And it's amazing because we have to use multiple applications. And what happens is, where really are the files? Because each application has its own filing system. Where are the, how I collaborate with that person with the other? And how to integrate that information, and even worse, and this happens in the real life many times. The customers say, no, you have made a beautiful SharePoint site, but I don't like SharePoint. I have to use, you are really desperate. The application the other day, I had a meeting with one company here in Estonia regarding their integration in the cluster. They are building a project management system, very nice. And they were right now dealing with the file system. And they said, because you can upload files there. I said, but why do you do that? Why you don't focus yourself just in the project management stuff? Forget the file system and use something external. But everybody wants to make the super trooper application with everything inside. Chatting system, mail system, but then at the end, this is a huge mess for the user. Then we came with one topic. As you can see, I love Estonia, and I am using Estonian terms. And we call that MinuOS, okay? It's something very nice, very simple. But we consider it's going to solve the problem we have been facing in this Digitaalehituse platform, when we have been trying to put together different technologies, we have been trying to put together different users' skills. And this MinuOS is based mainly in one concept, that is information node. We break the barrier of the application. We don't want to work with applications. We don't want that our users have to know which application is using. No. EOLA, no? It's in Estonian, EOLA. The idea is that if I want to know with one colleague how many emails I have from him, how many documents I have from him, if I have tasks, I want to see everything regarding this contact. If I have information regarding one project, can be, I insist, can be emails, can be files, can be Skype conversations, can be whatever, but I want to see it all together, just as a unity, as a project. Then the main idea is that this information node have to be connected with processes, meaning that in order to structure that information, have to be aligned with the processes in the corporation, and the user have to forget about this application. What we have identified in the way we are working now with this are some dimensions regarding this information node. The first is the contact. We have to know everything I have in my computer, whatever it is. I have to know with which contacts regards or is related. That can be, as you will see this symbol, desktop or in the cloud. It doesn't matter. It can be a system in the cloud, can be a system in my desktop, but I have to know and share my contacts. The second is the structure, meaning I have to align this information node with the process. I have to know the process, the precedents and subsequents, the priorities. Type. This is the real connection with, let's say, the already existing application system, or operation system, and it's the where we identify the application that has to be launched. Then it comes the task. Tasks permit us to handle also calendars. We put dates on things, and we put priorities on things. And that is going to be related afterwards, you will see, with project. Then very important, this is one of the points of mess, really, is the, I have Dropbox, Box, the Google Drive, OneDrive on Microsoft, where the things are. And even I have my computer and my telephone and what else, and where the things are, I have to remind. No, the computer has to work for me and have to remember and know where the things are. And then, as I explained, the security is something really important, but in a more wider way. Again, we must have systems of security in the cloud and systems in the desktop. The project, as I mentioned before. And finally, the final dimension is the domain. The things that I am handling, the information I am handling, wherever the application it is, can be private, professional, or family. And I have all my topics in one very well-structured system. When we go to the MeieOS, MeieOS is nothing else than just the concept of MinuOS, but extended in the cloud to share with other users. Nothing else. It's just that they have the same approach of working, that is not anymore the approach of working with applications, it's the approach of working with information nodes and my processes, but I can use that for my own information or for the information I am sharing with my colleagues. Then in that case, we have to integrate the file system in the cloud. We have to extend in the cloud what we call data connectors, that's to integrate those different information sources, and the security. For us, digitalization means that this MeieOS model have to be implemented by sectors. Why by sector? Why by industry? Very simple. Because of the processes. The process is something essential. Then the processes that Ragan Cells has been explaining are totally different of Estonia. But perhaps Ragan Cells is having quite similar with the whole coexisting sector of trash and being recycling. And perhaps Estonia is also aligned with the common ground of all the companies that are working in the electricity and power and energy. Then this is what we have done with Digitaalehituse. We are looking for all kinds of stakeholders. But we have to identify the stakeholders and create, in that case we have done with the construction, that is our expertise from Archibas. We have been analyzing and agreeing the processes that involves all the parties. We have to define the standards of data exchange and integration. Then look for the already existing software, because we are not going to reinvent the wheel. Of course, this application layer is going to be there. The programs have to work. But it's better that we use what the people likes and what the people already knows than just make something different that could be another barrier for the user. And finally, what we do is just build this coexistence, this information node system, what we call MeieOS platform. This is the project that we have, and I explained to you really briefly. The name of the is Edifice. The system is based on that we call the grid. It's based on layers, technical layers, meaning that we have a layer for document management and processes. Another layer is for real estate facility management and asset facilities. And the third layer is drawings and 3D modeling, BIM. Everybody's talking about BIM, but BIM, some people consider that the approach of BIM is that all the information is going to be there. This is impossible, because then the models should be so huge that it's impossible to manage. Then those layers are serving like information repositories. Then the fourth layer is Internet of Things. We are developing, considering that in the future could come more layers. Of course, and this is a very, very Estonian approach, we are integrating with X-Road, with XT. That is your fantastic, really fantastic and remarkable project country-wise. And of course, through that, the system has to be connected with the government. But those are the layers. And as you can see there in the top, we have the different status or the different phases of the full life cycle of a building, from the conception to the demolition, okay? What we are really building is this layer, the layer that is providing the access to all those tools. In the layers of tools, we are using already existing commercial applications. We are not going to invent the wheel, because it has no sense. You are going to see here some names afterwards, but this is really the draft in the let's say, in the prototype we are developing. But the most important thing is this layer, or this web portal that is, or the platform that is providing access to the rest of the things. Here is the Information Node Cloud repository, and we provide there a web security solution, all the things regarding the user management and accounts of users, the single sign-on system to access the different applications. It has no sense that the user have to remember all the logins and passwords of the world, because this is another part of the mess. The workflows and processes, the integration with the layers through APIs, and very important, really very important, we are developing a specific API of the platform that is going to permit the companies, IT companies, to provide services through the platform. Meaning, I don't know, there's someone that is making some kind of service of measuring energy consumption, and they have an application, they want to integrate that with the platform. Then we are going to provide an API to make it possible. Then this is as I said to you, right now with the prototype, we are involving those companies, and we are, let's say, the first approach is going to be done with those. And we are going, at the beginning of the next year, we are going to integrate third-party vendors and other services. And that's all. I don't know, I think I have been very fast, perhaps. But if you have any question. They ask in Estonian, the issue. The same problem I had, I couldn't make questions in Estonian. But okay. Right now in the cluster, members are 28. No, 28 companies. 28 companies. I think in Estonia that it means that we are close to 80%, because the big ones, the big players are there also. But this approach, as you have seen, as I said at the beginning, very naive, is considered not the big corporations only, also the small partners there, the small companies. And this is the reality. The reality of the market are not the huge ones, because the huge ones can make digitalization, but when you are thinking in a small company with 5 employees, They cannot afford this digitalization if it's not through that kind of platform. It was there. Sorry? We hope to have it the first pilot in the first quarter of next year. AutoCAD is also, okay, let's distinguish the web. Sometimes this is a misunderstanding. Okay, there are some times that you access the models through web, but you are really not able to edit. This is the case of Autodesk, for example. Autodesk by EULA, you can do it technically, but by EULA doesn't permit you edit drawings remotely. But you can view them, and you can handle, let's say, the viewers are already existing. And Autodesk is providing, through Autodesk 360, their cloud services also.
So no need for MinuOS technically, right?
Sorry?
You have this MinuOS and
MinuOS. Yeah. MinuOS is not necessarily for the platform. But as we are developing this approach, we are considering that that could be a very trendy solution in the future. But not only for these construction companies, but some other sectors. Let's put the lawyers, for example. They're quite the same problem. Okay. Sorry.
Aggregating different file providers and tagging the files effectively.
Here are two things. You mentioned product, and the reality, at the end, we are going to have one product that is the scope right now is regarding the Digitaalehituse Platform. Let's say the goal and the scope is to have a platform in the web, okay? But as I explained to your colleague, in the process, we are considering, still, this is a very, very, how to say, raw concept, but we are considering to make a product. And the product will be MinuOS. And the fact is that, yes, it will be a product to aggregate already existing things and put them in a more friendly user interface. Meaning that I don't, as I explained before, let's say that I go there and I have to be able to classify all the information that is coming in my computer from different sources. And the classifications are those parameters, those dimensions I am. And then afterwards, I can dig into the information using that parameters, as I explained before. I want to see everything I have regarding this project X, between those dates. And I don't want to go here and there and there. No, I want to have in my computer everything and work with that. Okay? Nothing else? Okay? Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.